Viewers, what's going on? Happy Saturday. This is Saturday, November the 9th, 2024, coming to you from Truth Told Studios, where the truth is told and the objective perspective is provided. Um, Man, got a good show for you. It's not going to be too long. Want to cover a few topics, that I've still been coming across social media this week. And man, are the liberals still reeling? Just 3-4 days removed from the presidential election where Donald Trump won in a landslide. I must emphasize at the outstart, I am not a Donald Trump fan. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. What I am though is a believer of the way, a believer of what is written according to the Holy Scriptures. That is me. I don't identify as Christian, as I say a lot. I do not identify as Christian. However, I do realize that the world would call me a Christian based off my beliefs. So, for the sake of a lack of confusion, I will most likely refer to myself on this channel as a Christian. But again, I do not identify as that. That will be another video for a different day. Anyways, as we get into these topics, one thing I wanted to go over, and I wanted to do a quick chat with you guys. Again, this channel is going to cover things such as politics, social and cultural issues, political issues. Definitely going to have that how that intertwines with religion, and then we'll do some sports as well. I am certainly a sports guy. I love sports, particularly football or NFL, NBA. And guys, I got a confession to make. I'll make it early. I do still watch WWE. Yeah, no, don't laugh at me. I do still watch WWE. I grew up on it. That's another video for another day. I can cover that when I talk a little bit more about my background. But I do still watch WWE strictly out of habit. I'm not a religious avid watcher. I don't watch every Monday Night Raw and every Friday Night SmackDown, but there are still some programs within the show that I pay attention to and that I follow. So, guys, you gotta bear with me if I start getting into my WWE talk. All right, cool. So let's dive into this real quick. Again, guys, I don't want to come off as a straight up political channel. We will cover politics as it pertains, only as it pertains to our culture and social issues, though. I'm not a big politician, but again, I'm a historian. I do like history. Started in 2008 with my study of history, and I'm not an avid studier of history because I'm a busy man, but I do love history. So as a result of loving history, you've got to pay attention to what's going on around you in today's society and not just look at everything ancient, because one day, this day will be history. One day, the 2024 presidential election will be history. I mean, it already is technically because it happened a few days ago, so it's history. But you guys get what I'm saying. I've made a commitment to pay a lot closer attention to history. So, a couple things that I've been hearing about the big bad Trump. I'm hearing about when people were lamenting the idea of Trump taking office, and now that Trump has taken office, this is something I've heard on mainstream media. I've saw it over social media, and I've heard it in amongst the community I'm in, the Black community. And I'm going to read a couple things real quick just to make sure I got it all. But yeah, a couple of things I wanted to cover about what Trump is supposed to be, why it's so bad for Trump to take office. I'm hearing that he's going to dismantle the department or the Board of Education. I'm hearing that Trump is going to grant police immunity, which I believe he said it's going to be essential immunity. We'll talk about that in a second. And then also Trump is going to impose tariffs that are going to crush the economy, for what I'm hearing, particularly for the lower middle class and the lower class citizens. And then I'm also hearing that he's going to have mass deportation for illegal immigrants. Okay. Now, I'm listening to these people talk about this. I actually had a customer when I was working. This individual spoke to me and was imploring me a few weeks ago to register to vote. Apparently, they had researched my name and they saw that I was not registered to vote. This was probably about 3 weeks ago. They saw I was not registered to vote. And that individual, after I was finished working, asked me, was I registered to vote, only to tell me that they seen online I wasn't registered to vote. And that and then started to kind of talk to me very respectfully. But the individual started to talk to me about why I need to vote. And the things they were telling me were exactly this. And this is not the only place I heard it, but they were very adamant about these things. And when I was speaking to that individual, I said, listen, I can't get into politics because I'm at work, and I'm not going to get into politics at work because I know people judge you by your politics. And I told the individual I'm not very much into politics, but I do follow the Most High God, um, whose name he revealed his name to Moses as Yahweh, Yahuwah, Jehovah. He Yahweh. Some of you guys call him Yahweh. He revealed his name to Moses as Yahweh. And real quick, I want, because again, this channel is gonna have a lot of this religious talk in it. Or I don't want to say religious talk because I'm not very religious, but again, that's the way the world will identify me, so I have to use that term. But this channel will have a lot of that. God Almighty identified himself as Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Jehovah to Moses. He said he was not known to Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob, or any of the forefathers by that name. He was known to them as God Almighty, amongst a few other names. But we got to understand, uh, there are gods many, according to the Bible. The Bible tells you, though there be gods many, little g, when it talks about gods many, it talks about the little g. But there are many gods. So I don't always like to say God because I hear so many people, so many wicked people in the media. So many of our celebrities mention God. They say, I want to thank God, but then their music and their cover art for their albums and things like that represent something completely different. So it's really hard to believe that these celebrities that are worshiping God and thanking God at their award ceremonies are talking about the same God that I'm referring to, the same God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Moses, the God of the Apostle Paul that revealed himself in Acts chapter 9, that God, that Lord, that Almighty. I don't know that we're worshiping the same God, that we're referring to thinking the same God. So I can't just say a blanket term of God. I like to use his proper name that he identified himself to Moses as. Okay, so that's that. So when we say God, anybody can have a God. There are many gods. Hindus have millions of gods. And that's I'm not trying to shoot at them, but I'm going to tell you what's real, and you take it how you want to take it. But anyways, I lost my train of thought on where I was going because I do tend to get off topic sometimes. But my Lord is always on topic. He's always going to be a topic. So anyways, I don't know where I was at, but here's what I'm getting at. The Department of Education is supposed to be getting dismantled by Trump, supposedly. And where are we at here? Sorry, I see that my device is about to die, so I have to make this video kind of quick. But yeah, the Department of Education is supposed to be getting dismantled by Trump. I've heard that story over and over again. And my issue with the story is they don't tell the whole story. Both sides are this way. That the individual I was speaking to, I told that person I serve the Most High Yahweh. And both sides, by that measure, because I read by that measure, from what I've read, both sides have their share of wickedness. And I told that individual I will not be voting. I'm not going to be voting because I'm not going to vote for wickedness. And I heard the whole lesser of two evils argument. That's fine. That's fine. I still don't want to be voting for evil. And that's not to say I'm holier than thou. And that I don't have my own issues, because I do. I got issues that I have to address if I want to make it into the kingdom of heaven. I have to address these issues. I've got to pray and fast to be delivered from certain gimps in my walk with the Lord. But bottom line is, I'm not going to support evil, one side or the other. The way I talk on this channel when I have these videos, one would probably surmise that I'm a Trump fan. I'm not a Trump fan. I think he's funny. I think he's entertaining, but I'm not a Trump fan as it pertains to his politics or anything like that. He's a liar. Kamala's definitely a liar. Hillary was a liar before him. Biden's a liar. Obama was a liar. Yes, I know that's going to get me in trouble with the black community. Don't care. Trust me, as I put these videos out, the black community probably will hate me or probably not like me quite as much, and that's totally fine. I don't do any of this to be liked. I'm going to inform, and I'm going to inform objectively. The objective perspective. That's what I've come to provide. So I don't want to put too much fluff in here, guys. I got to get started. But I'm going to leave my conversation that I had with that particular individual about me voting, and I'm going to share it on here. So first thing that individual told me, he's going to dismantle the Board of Education. Now, my question would be why? If he said that, so I looked up online, I looked at some of his videos of him speaking on it, I read about it, and the base level of understanding that I plan on bringing to you guys is Trump says he wants to dismantle the Board of Education or the Department of Education because he wants to take away the political indoctrination that these schools hold. Now, what I'm catching what he's putting down, and it seems as though Trump is very agitated at the fact that grade schools, K-12 schools through the Board of Education are teaching politics from a very what would you call a very leftist, a very liberal standpoint, and not from even a moderate standpoint, a middle of the ground standpoint. And honestly, if I was a Republican, if I was a conservative, I'd feel the same way. I wouldn't want all of America to be taught only, strictly, or mainly from a liberal's perspective or a liberal's opinion. I would want something, excuse me, in the land of democracy, I would want something right down the middle. How does that make sense? How does it make sense to have our kids being taught from grade school up until the points that they're legal adults, that one side or the other, whether you're teaching them, because I got to watch what I say on YouTube, but whether you're teaching them that they should defy religion, you teach them that they should support, particularly they should be allies for one side or the other. How am I trying to say this? Because I got to watch how I say this here. Political indoctrination could be one of the things that I believe Trump is probably talking about, because he's touched on this kind of stuff before. But again, having certain individuals from a certain group come and read to our children, and I think you guys know what I'm talking about, but I don't want to get canceled by YouTube, so I have to be very careful what I say. But you guys know which group I'm talking about. With that said, I'm sure that just me saying that will have people calling me a phobic. I don't understand. I thought having a phobia of anything was that you were afraid of something, having an irrational fear of something. Just because you don't want your child exposed to something that you don't believe in, there's no phobia attached to that. That's a lie. There is no phobia for not all out us supporting a particular group. It doesn't mean you have a phobia against it, right? It just means, hey, I'm all for you guys having your rights. Just like blacks had to fight for their rights and women had to fight for their rights. I'm all for everybody having rights. I don't want my rights taken. I don't want a woman having her rights taken. I don't want a black having their rights taken. I don't want a man having his rights taken. Lord knows we're in that phase now where they're trying to strip men of all their rights. But I ain't gonna get on that right now. But no, I don't want any type of same-sex person. I hope I can say that on YouTube. I don't want any type of person that likes the same sex to not have basic human rights. Everybody should be entitled to basic human rights, at least in America. I can't speak for other countries, but we're in America, and we are all entitled to basic human rights if you're an American citizen. That just goes without saying. That said, I'm not allowed to walk into school and teach people anything about, I don't want to say this word because I don't want to get canceled, but teach people to love African Americans and to hate every other race. I'm not allowed to do that. That will come off as supremacy of my race. White people are not allowed to go in school and teach strictly to the kids about the supremacy of their color. I mean, we did that for a while in America, but that's no longer tolerated in America. That shouldn't be allowed. White people are not allowed to go in school and indoctrinate people that they're the best on earth and that everyone else falls beneath them. I'm not going to say that does or doesn't happen, but it's not allowed legally. In that same breath, it should not be allowed for people that identify and love the same sex. It should not be tolerated or allowed. If we're not allowed to do that, they should not have any special rights to be allowed to go in school and indoctrinate 5-year-olds who are not thinking about who they love in that way. 5-year-olds are not thinking about anything lustful, anything intimate. They're not thinking about that. So why would we allow males dressed in women's clothing, pretending to be women? Why would we allow that males dressed in clothing that are pretending to be women to come into our children's classroom and expose them to that at such an early age? Am I calling those people wrong? Ethically speaking, in America, no, they're not wrong. But spiritually speaking, and what my worldview is, according to what I read and how I plan to live my life after I'm dead on this earth, absolutely it's wrong. Yes, it's wrong. But I don't turn a bad eye to them. Fornication is wrong, right? Fornication is wrong. Adultery is wrong. All that is wrong. I don't hate fornicators. I don't hate adulterers, and I don't hate people who like the same sex. But I certainly, according to the Bible, condemn it. I condemn myself if I'm a fornicator. I condemn myself if I'm a adulterer. I condemn myself if I'm a thief. The Bible tells you, no thieves, all thieves shall have their part in the lake of fire. All cowards, all fornicators, all adulterers. It says it in there. I believe what is written. I believe what is written, what I can read. And so I'm not going to rag on same-sex people. It's about everybody that if you're teaching kids that it's okay to have sleep with anybody and whoever you want to sleep with, regardless of if you're hetero or the other side. Regardless, it's wrong teaching. It's wrong to indoctrinate our kids about anything that has to do with their body parts and intimacy at the age of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it might be. That's wrong. I don't care if it's same sex. I don't care if it's heterosexual. I don't care who it is. Right is right, wrong is wrong. So when Trump talks about taking away political indoctrination, he's referring to a lot of that kind of stuff. And I can get deeper into that, but not right now. He wants to take away political indoctrination. He also wants to bring prayer back to school. Okay? Bringing prayer back to school does not mean on its own that everyone has to pray and everyone has to be a Christian. Y'all do realize that Hindus pray, right? I hope y'all realize that. Y'all realize Buddhists pray, right? Y'all realize Muslims pray, right? Y'all realize that? Y'all realize people that identify as witches, y'all know they pray? Just like Christians or so-called Christians pray. Everybody that believes in a higher power prays, guys. They pray. So bringing prayer back to school could look like a lot of different things. How Trump wants to bring prayer back to school. I would imagine it's in a Christian way, but I would imagine that he's not going to output a law because we have freedom of religion according to the Constitution, where he's going to say, well, Muslims can't pray in school, but Christians can. No, he's bringing prayer back to school in general. What's wrong with that? From my worldview, ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing. Your child don't got to participate in it. They never should have took prayer out of school. It's part of the reason we got so many school shootings. Oh my! Did he just say that because we don't pray in school, that's why we got school shootings? No, hear me out, dummy. I said that's part of the reason. We took prayer out of school. No prayer, no power. All right? One of the other things he wants to do, he talked about bringing internships to school. Bringing internships to school to get people, particularly in the upper schools, ready for the real world. He said not this hocus pocus BS that the Board of Education has mandated that these kids learn. No, he's talking about bringing internships to school for kids that can get real life work experience and they can be prepared for the world that they enter when they come out of school. When I listened to Trump's speech about the Department of Education, the Board of Education, and dismantling, particularly tearing down a building in Washington that they have, he literally said, tearing down a building they have in Washington, sending all the workers in there back to the state at a state level and let the states govern their education as it needs to be. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with that. Now, I was told from an individual that was going to particularly harm the black community. That individual couldn't tell me how. Last time I checked, white people went to school too, and Hispanics and Asians. Last time I checked, Europeans, they all went to American schools. There's plenty of them here. But I heard it was only going to harm black people. I'm still waiting on how. If you know how, drop it in the comment below. Tell me how in the comment below, because I'd love to discuss that. Anybody want to discuss any of these topics, feel free to shoot me a comment below. Also, shoot me an email that'll be in the description. If you want to discuss any of this stuff, if you want to come on the channel and discuss it, I'm more than happy to discuss it with anybody, as long as it's going to be respectful. All right. So the Department of Education, Trump sounded like he was very irked and bothered at the fact that America, according to his words, sits around number 40 as far as most educated. I think he said Denmark was number 1, I believe, as having the most educated or the best educational system. I want to say he said it was Denmark, but I don't recall. I haven't done my own research, so I'm saying what he said. I'm just saying what he said. I have not done my own research, but I believe he said Denmark was around number 40. Trump, and listening to Trump's speeches, and I listened to a lot, he seems to be very, very American-centric. He's all about moving America forward. That whole MAGA slogan, Make America Great Again, yes, it is a slogan. No, it's not racist. Yes, it is a slogan, but it seems like something he actually truly stands behind. He's like a true American. It's very funny. I identify with my religion more than I identify with being an American. It's cool. I'm blessed to be in America. Hearing about what I hear about other countries and what's going on and what's allowed and what's not allowed, I'm blessed to be an American. It isn't great here, but it's better than so many other countries that I hear about, and so I'm blessed to be here. Thank God for it. But that said, Trump doesn't seem to be very concerned with God. He seems to be a whole lot more concerned with America, literally make America great again. And so he was he seemed to be very irked about the fact that we sit around number 40 as far as best educated countries. He was very irked about that. And he wants to move up close towards the top because he's so American. I can't be mad at that. I'm a competitive person. I don't like to lose, so I can't be mad at that. Trump seems competitive as well. So now that we talked about Department of Education and why he wants to do those things, he is simply saying he wants the power back at the state level and taken out of the Fed's hands. Nothing wrong with that. Police immunity is a hot topic. Police immunity. What does that mean? He's talking about police immunity. What does that mean? Police immunity. Police immunity. So Trump has not said he's going to grant police absolute immunity in cases. However, he did say he planned on giving police immunity to do their job. This does worry me some. This definitely worries me. The thought of that worries me. I was told that he was giving police immunity so they can kill black people as they have been and not be persecuted, not be prosecuted. Yeah, I don't know about that. First of all, let me just preface what I'm saying. I don't think Trump is racist, and I do think that we don't have the perfect idea of racism in America. There is something called racism, prejudice, racial bias, stereotypes. If y'all are honest with yourselves, every single ethnicity, every single color, we all have racial stereotypes and prejudices that even if we keep them in our head, we have them. We have racial prejudice, racial bias, racial stereotypes. We all have them. And if anyone watching this video says they don't have them, you, sir, you, ma'am, or you, it, they, them, liar. Liar. So I do believe Trump has a lot of racial prejudice to him. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. Again, we all have it. I guess it's wrong for Trump to have it because he's not supposed to be human, but everybody else can have it. He does have racial prejudice. I see it. I've heard it. I don't think Trump's a racist. I don't think he hates black people. In fact, I can't say I know because I don't know him, but Trump don't hate black people. My Lord, that's crazy. I can see why one would think that. If you're not objective, you would think that, but Trump don't hate black people. That said, police immunity. Trump seems to, just by watching his videos and reading up on it, Trump seems to is going to be a very hard stance on crime in America. Part of making America great. Some will say, take the again part out because it was never great. Fine. For the sake of argument, I'm just going to say part of him making America great, what he ran on the first time and what he's still saying now, part of that is what he's saying he's going to give police immunity to do their job. What's happened in the last 10 years? BLM has happened in the last 10 years. And political pressure from the media, pressure from superstars and athletes and celebrities have forced the hands in a lot of situations for police to lose their careers and to lose their freedom in some cases just because they did their job. What do I mean by that? Okay, I'm not going to get into any specifics right now about specific cases. I actually do want to dive into some cases. So I would do a follow-up video to dive into some of these cases of old, the Trayvon Martins, the Michael Browns, the Eric Garners, the George Floyds. I will dive into that in a separate video. But what ends up happening is a lot of times I've seen this. Well, actually, Sonia Massey, I want to say rest in peace to her. May God's will be done with her family as he sees fit. May God's will be done with her soul as he sees fit. What happened to her was a tragedy. It was wrong from what I could see. I saw no reason on video. And although we don't have everything that happened before the cops walked in there, from what I seen on video, it was absolutely, I don't care what she had said to them, her down. From the video, it appeared that she dropped the boiling pot of water in the sink long before she got fired off at. I forgot I'm on YouTube. I have to watch what I say. But long before she got fired off at, they anyways, so that was a travesty. I'm not referring to that. But there has been so many cases with these big high profile names where I've watched a 10-second video come out. I've watched a black community lose their mind. I've watched a white community lose their mind because they're overcompensating and they have that white guilt to them. And I've watched every other community lose their mind only for the next minute of the video to come out. And then you get to see a little bit more context as to why the police officer may have done what they've done in many of these videos. Still, many would say it's wrong. I'm a very objective person, and I understand that a lot of times police have to make split-second decisions, and they're not always going to be the best decisions. For our own safety, if you believe that you are being unjustly hunted and unalived, why in the world would you give your predator Why would you give your predator any ammo to hunt you? If I'm being hunted and I'm running from a predator, I'm not going to go in the middle of where my predator is going to be at and yell out, ooh, 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 ooh. I'm not going to do that. You know how stupid that is? So when a cop pulls us over, asks us for our ID, whatever the case may be, I don't care if they're rude or not. Being rude is not against the law. I wouldn't like it. I'd be highly upset. I'm a very I don't play those games. I don't play that. But I also am not going to play with my life and gamble my life into that cop's hands when I know they can get off. Before Trump is going to grant immunity, y'all do realize cops already have what I believe to be, y'all don't quote me on this, essential or I believe it's qualified immunity. Cops already have that. They already have the benefit of the doubt, period. That's why so many of them don't get convicted and go to jail. They already have that. Trump plans on expanding that a little bit. I'm worried about that, but I will say this. It's an overcorrection. And if one overcorrection is good, the next overcorrection you can't be a hypocrite about. And this is where the hypocrisy comes in at. What happened, guys, from the time America's been founded, and even before that, but we're just talking about America, from the time America's been founded up until probably the 60s, women didn't have the rights they thought they deserved. And even later than that, women didn't have the rights they thought they deserved. So we're going to make a long story short. They didn't have the rights they thought they deserved. They stood up, they fought, they marched, they picketed. Black people stood with them because the women stood with the black people when they were looking for their freedom back in the late 1800s. We stood with them, and then boom, out of that came the feminist movement, and women got the rights and things of that nature. And as a result of that, as a result of the overcorrection, it seems like women are believed when they make any accusation against men, and they're given the benefit of the doubt, and the man seems to lose everything, even when it's found out that that particular woman was lying or exaggerating really hard about something. That's the overcorrection that happened, and we're still living in the overcorrection right now. And a lot of women don't seem to have any problems with that. In the black community, we were brought over here as slaves in the 1700s. We were slaves up until the late 1800s, and even then, we were under Jim Crow laws, amongst many other laws that continue to discriminate us. Only recently, in the last probably 20, 25 years, did black people start to get to the point where we are on a much more even playing field. Are we still behind? Yes. This video wasn't about that, so I can't get into that. But are we still behind? Yes. Are we still discriminated on more than the Caucasians? Absolutely. Yes, we are. But we are more free than we've ever been in America. Anybody says that is a lie. We'll get into that in another video. Anybody that says anything against that is a lie, rather. And we'll get into that in another video. But so yes, that's the overcorrection. Now BLM came out, and every time I turn around, something's being blamed on. Oh, it's because I'm black. Oh, it's because I'm black. I didn't get this job because I'm black. The cop pulled me over because I'm black. Black, 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 black. And in a lot of cases, they're right. And in a lot of cases, that's not the case. I used to be that same kind of guy. I grew up like that. I grew up saying everything was because I was black. I don't have this opportunity because I'm black. This happened to me because I'm black. That happened to me because I'm black. It only occurred to me about 15, not even 15 years ago. Probably, it was somewhere in my early 20s when I was like, man, that's a whole other video. I'm getting off topic. Okay, but we had an overcorrection in the black community now, and now a lot of us can just say, well, it's because I'm black, and we can get away with a lot of stuff as it pertains to in the job world, in corporate America. If you pull that black card, you scare them into the human resource thing. You scare your bosses. You scare a lot of coworkers if you can pull that black card and they're not black. You scare a lot of them. Now the woman thing, same thing. You pull that woman card. More important, you pull that you're a black woman, because now you got the double whammy. I'm black and I'm a woman, 2 protected classes. You pull that card at work, and man, you can get off with a lot. It's really wild. But again, I'll have proof for that in another video. The police immunity thing that Trump is talking about, he's overcorrecting the fact that some police have been improperly and unfairly prosecuted against doing their job. Maybe not making the best of choices, but nevertheless doing their job. I hear a lot of times people say, well, the police could have used their stun gun. They could have done X, Y, and Z. I don't know how many of y'all have ever been in a high tense situation. A lot of y'all that say they have never been in a fight, like a real fight. I'm talking about no little scuffle. No, I'm talking about a real fight with somebody that could actually fight, somebody that could actually really have the ability to hurt you. A lot of y'all have not been in that situation, so you don't even know what it's like to be in a high tense situation and have to make a split second decision. Okay, sometimes cops have unalived people that they should not have done that to. The situation didn't rise for it, but the situation was so high tense, it was physical, and the cop kind of panicked. Should that cop lose their job for that and not fit to be a cop because they panic? Probably. Should that cop go to jail for it? Depends on the case. Probably not. Depending on the case, though. Depends on the facts of the case. Trump is here to further interrogate that. Trump has said he's going to put a board of people over that to make those decisions, help make those decisions about if the cop should get immunity in that case or not. That's a slippery slope to me. I think I'm worried about that one a little bit, but I can understand where Trump is coming from. He's also saying that cops are now afraid to do their job, and as a result, crime is out of control. How many of us agree with that? Yeah, I agree with that. And so, as a result of that, he wants to give cops the ability to do their job again. I just know where I'm at here in the state that I'm in North Carolina, that my particular city is short. I forgot how many cops we're short of, but we are short a large amount of police, and so many other big cities are facing the same thing. So many other small cities are facing the same thing. We don't have enough police because so many police have quit in droves because they're too afraid to do their job. They're afraid if they do their job with someone that is not that is less than coherent, someone that is violent, that if they do their job and make a split-second decision, they're afraid that they'll go to jail. The wife has lost a husband. The husband has lost a wife. Kids have lost fathers. Fathers have lost mothers. If it's me or you and I'm out in the field somewhere and it's me or you, it's going to be you. I have a kid I got to take care of. You understand? I'm not going to let someone take me out so I can't provide for my kid no more. That's not going to happen. And so a lot of police have felt that pressure and decided to step away. I don't blame them. Same with teachers. Everybody in major cities and probably even in smaller cities have seen just how bad we need teachers in our public schools. They've stepped away because kids are so bad. And if they try to do their job with the kids, the parents go up there and go, you ain't going to talk to my kid that way. And all that little stupid stuff, or the neck rolling and the clapping and all that dumb stuff. Teachers are getting cussed out all the time. Teachers are getting threatened all the time. And that's not just by parents, but by students. And parents are doing nothing to correct that. So we've lost so many students as a result of that. Well, Donald Trump says it's not students. We've lost so many teachers as a result of that. And Trump said he's going to try his best to fix that. I can't be mad at that. I might not like the way he goes about trying to fix it, but I can't be mad at that. If America doesn't put that problem out there, then Trump has no need to put these laws into place or these policies into place to try to overcorrect these problems that we obviously have in America. So yes, he wants to protect against the unfair treatment of police, and a lot of time police are getting unfair treatment. We need protection too. Let's just face it. In our community, I don't think that we're always protected enough, but at the same time, I do think we cry foul over everything, and that's starting to fall on deaf ears because you can't just cry foul over everything. But anyways, so that's the extent of his police immunity. He didn't say he was going to let police get away with everything. I listened to his talks. He said, well, it had to be judged on a case-by-case basis. He said that. He said, he said the Saeed Massey thing was horrible. He did skate around that question when asked about her. He said it was horrible from what he saw. It was tragic, and that all those things can be weighed on a case-by-case basis when he gets in office. But he didn't really touch that specifically, and I thought that was a little disappointing from him. He did try to skate around that question. But yeah, that's the extent of police immunity. He's not trying to give. He never said he was giving police immunity to go unalive a bunch of black people. Y'all stop saying that. He didn't say that. So y'all need to stop saying that. Don't go and put. Now, if it happens, that's one thing. But it's been happening before, as y'all say. It's been happening long before Trump got in office. So if, and undoubtedly it will happen when Trump is in office at some point. But God forbid it does. If it happens, don't blame Trump. It happened long before Trump ever took office, long before Trump was a politician. It happened on Obama's watch. Trayvon Martin was on Obama's watch. So let's not act like these things. and dude got off. Now, dude wasn't a police officer, but it was the same concept. We treated that the same way we treat everything else when the police does. Unalives an innocent black man. I'm a black man. There's been some innocent black men to be unalive, and then there's been some that were not innocent, that didn't deserve to be unalive, but things happened in this situation, and the cop didn't deserve necessarily go to jail either for it either. It's just, I'm sorry, guys. It's just the unfortunate truth. But anyways, wanted to touch on that real quick. I encourage you guys to do your research. If you got any feedback about my take on police immunity, drop it in the comment section. I'd be more than happy to hear it. And again, I'd love to. I got no problem taking on anybody on this subject and having a conversation about it. Trump also talked about mass deportations and tariffs. The tariffs I want to talk about. The tariffs, again, listening to Trump talk about why he wanted the tariffs. His tariffs was about helping getting America out of debt, helping America to make trillions of dollars over the course of, I think it's a 10-year period from 2024 to 2034 in his tariff plan. He still doesn't have exactly how he's going to implement that, but I heard he wants to He wants to put an import tax on from every other country. I think somewhere around 10 to 20%. And then China, he wants to he wants to tax China 60%, 60 to 100% on their goods. Because of whatever issues that we have with China. I haven't particularly looked into that yet. But whatever issues we have with China, he wants to put a harsher punishment on them. And what that generally looks like is that they don't really pay that tariff well, let me take that back. The tariffs are taxes that he imposes on those countries. And so if you are selling a product at, let's just say you sell 100 hats, and you mass sell 100 hats from I don't know, Denmark to America, and you generally are selling those hats. I don't know, you're mass producing the hats and you're selling them at $100. So it's essentially $1 a hat, and then the company's taking those hats and they're selling those hats for $10, $20. The company that's buying from those countries, if you're ordering those 100 hats in Denmark, you have to pay the shipping fee. You have to pay the shipping fee, and you also have to pay whatever I believe the tariff that's on that. Now, so the whole point in the tariff is to discourage American companies from importing goods, but rather to make those goods here in America and sell them in America. If you make those goods in America rather than mass importing them, but you mass produce them here, that potentially gives a lot of Americans more jobs, right? If you need someone to mass produce the hats that you were once buying from another country, and you need someone here to do it because it's not really affordable anymore, then you're going to start paying the American people, or the American citizens, to produce those hats instead of getting it from another country, right? That's the whole plan. Again, make America great again. That's part of that Make America Great Again slogan is, I want to give American jobs. So why is Trump imposing tariffs? Because he wants to provide more jobs. He also knows that the tariffs you pay go straight to the United States government. If you're paying more on tariffs, you're putting more money in the government's pocket, which is going to help the government in turn get out of the trillions of dollars of debt that the government is currently in. Okay, like it or hate it, that's just the truth of the matter. Tariffs are going to help the government with more of their money. Again, tariffs also help, like I said, give American jobs, because it discourages from importing goods. It doesn't say that you're not going to do it, but it certainly discourages that. And if you still need the goods, you're going to put people to work to get those goods for you. Another thing about the tariff situation is, what I understand, as a way to kind of offset that a little bit, Trump is looking at, has said that he is going to have income taxes cut. He's going to provide certain tax breaks on income taxes for all American citizens, and lower income taxes nationwide. And that's going to kind of help balance that out. No one from the left side or the right can say how that's going to affect the economy. All can say what they think and what some projections may be, but no one really knows, because no one knows what the tariffs are going to be. No one knows exactly what all the tariffs are going to be on, and how those tariffs will be paid. And then we don't know the income tax portion of that Trump says he's going to cut for everybody. So stay tuned for that. Again, I just want you guys to be informed. I want to give an objective perspective on these things, not just a perspective. But he's going to tax everybody and put a tariff on everything. And as a result of that, groceries and everything else are going to go up even more. And it's going to hurt the lower class and the poor and the middle class, but the rich are going to stay rich. Well, that could happen. I'm not under the idea that that wouldn't happen. It could happen, but that's not what Trump's plan is. Now, rather he stays good on his plan is a whole other thing, and that remains to be seen. But that is not Trump's plan. Let's be honest. Let's tell the truth. Let's not be liars, guys. The lying gets on my last nerve. Telling half truths is just as good as telling a lie. I gotta stop that. Lastly, deportation. Same concept. Why does Trump want to do mass deportations? Well, he said he's going to start with the illegals that are over here, the undocumented illegals that are over here that have been linked to crimes. He's going to start with getting them out immediately. Why would any American be against that? Again, I'm God Almighty first. I'm Yahweh Elohim first. I'm Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior first, not America first. But if I'm coming from an American perspective, why would any American have a problem with that? We got bad enough crime from our own citizens. Why in the world do we need to have open borders so that we can allow citizens from another country to come over here and make the crimes that much worse? That is just straight up stupid. Would you open your house door and allow somebody that's a non-citizen of your house to come in there and rough your house up? Let's just say you're a parent and you got 4 kids and your kids are always fighting each other all the time. You got enough war in your house as it is. You got enough crime in your house as it is. Would you then open your door and let someone else's kids run in there and start fighting your kids? Would you allow that? Anybody that answers yes to that is a hypocrite and a liar. You wouldn't allow that. So why in the world would the country open their doors to our country's home and let other people in to do the same things that we're doing, if not worse? Why? That's stupid. That's stupid. Okay? So that's the whole idea behind the mass deportations. Some people ask, well, what about the kids that are legal, but the parents that are illegal? I don't know anything about that. That's for Trump to figure out. That's why he's president. But the bottom line is, it ain't the kids' fault that the parents decided to come over here illegally, and now the kids are naturalized citizens, but the parents aren't. That's not the kids' fault. Parents shouldn't have put their kids in that position in the first place. That's on them. I'm sorry. Whatever happens, I would hope they land easy. To be honest with you, I would hope if a deportation had to happen, I would hope they get deported with their parents, because kids don't need to be separated from their parents. They don't need to stay here and go to a foster care. I wouldn't want that. If it was my kids, I want them coming with me. So that shouldn't even be a question about what happens to those kids. They go with their parents. They can come back when they're adults if they want to, because they're citizens, but they go with their parents. Why should that fall on any American to take care of someone else's kids? Unless they wanted to, of course, unless they were in a bad situation in their house, their parents were horrible and possibly abusing or neglecting. That's a whole different situation. But assuming it's a well-functioning family, the kids deserve to stay with their parents. And unfortunately, if the parents get deported, the kids got to go with them. I mean, that's obvious. And then they also said that after they have gotten all those out, then they'll start focusing on the other illegals that are over here. Now, a lot of people are up in arms about that, saying, well, they're not causing any problems. They're over here working. They want a better life. I get that, and I understand that. But unfortunately, there is a lawful way of going about things. There are unlawful ways, and then there are lawful ways of coming in. I believe John chapter 10, is that it? I believe it's in John chapter 10. And Jesus says, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. Now, we don't like to hear that as Americans. But if anybody listening to this channel that is a so-called Christian, a so-called Bible-believing individual, I'm going to say that again. King James Version, John chapter 10, verse 1, I believe. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, is a thief and a robber. Now, am I calling those illegal immigrants thieves and robbers? No. But I'm giving you kind of an idea of what Jesus thinks about that. There's a lawful way you got to do things. You got to come in the right way. It's no problem with coming in here. You just got to come in the right way. So that's my tirade on, I wouldn't even call it a tirade. That's my take on those things. That's my quick take on those things. I did not intend this video to be this long, but that is my quick take on those particular situations. Lastly, I wanted to touch on sports from last night, particularly basketball. And I would say my Warriors, but I'm a big Steph Curry fan. I'm not a Warriors fan, but I root for the Warriors because I'm a Steph Curry fan. Cleveland is on to a hot start. Cleveland, 10-0 on the season, 10 wins, 0 losses. Golden State Warriors 7-2. They went up against each other last night, and Cleveland demolished the Warriors. They held them to 117 points. Meanwhile, they scored 136 points. That's that. We had a big slate of games last night, but I'm going to cover a few. Charlotte Hornet went against the Indiana Pacers last night. Tyrese Halliburton had an abysmal night, 2 of 11 from the field for 6 points. And Charlotte trounced Indiana, trounced them. 103-83 was your final score. Brandon Miller with 29 points on 10 of 17 shooting, 7 of 11 from 3. Good job, Brandon Miller. You keep killing it. LaMelo Ball, 10 of 29. Yikes. That you talk about volume shooting. 10 of 29, 5 of 18 from the 3. Yikes, LaMelo Ball, slow down. You're a point guard. Pass the ball a little more. You're flashy. You're good, man. You're doing your thing. But yikes. Last night, the Nets took Boston to overtime. They were playing in the TD Garden, I believe. I don't know if they call it that anymore. But the Nets took Boston to overtime. Wow, was not expecting that. However, Boston still handled business. 108-104 is your final score on that. My boy Jason Tatum with 33 points, 6 assists, 9 rebounds. We do know he is a volume shooter, kind of like Kobe. Will not have a high shooting percentage, but make shots when they matter the most. Well, he's starting to make shots when they matter the most, making big shots in the fourth quarter. He was 11 for 25 from the field. Still no Jaylen Brown. I believe he is out with some sort of hip injury. I don't even know his return on that, his return timetable to that, but Jaylen Brown will be back soon. Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks went down 94-116. to the New York Knicks. Man, I don't know. Giannis was very frustrated. He said after the game that the guys didn't give enough effort. Giannis was 11 to 21 from the field, 24 points and 12 rebounds. He did his part. Damian Lillard 6 for 15 from the field, 6 assists, 6 rebounds for 19 points. That's an okay night, but for Damian Lillard, that's kind of lackluster. And then no one else showed up to the party. Giannis will be getting out of Milwaukee around the trade deadline. Don't quote me. And 116 was New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson, 15 points, but Karl-Anthony Towns, 32 points, 11 rebounds, 4 of 8 from the 3, 12 of 20 from the field. Good job, Karl-Anthony Towns. Mikal Bridges, 7 of 18 from the field for 17 points. Jalen Brunson, like I said, 15 on 16 of 14 shooting. This will take a while to gel. These guys are going to have some nights where they look amazing and look like world beaters, and they're going to have a lot of nights where they look lackluster. Remember, Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges are used to being the number one guys on their team. Well, Karl-Anthony Towns is really the number 2, but they're used to being the number one guys on their team. And now they have just gotten with the New York Knicks, and so they have to incorporate all that in. Jalen Brunson is very ball dominant, and so he's learning. He's going to have to learn to play off the ball a little bit more. And so yeah, that's going to be a project. But man, I'd be worried about the Knicks in the playoffs as they start to get it together. We got the Dallas Mavericks that took on Phoenix played at Dallas last night, and they beat Dallas by 1 point. I believe Yusuf Nurkic hit a free throw. He had 2 free throws with like 0.8 seconds to go because he got fouled on a putback shot. And he hit one of the 2 free throws, and they were tied 113. Nurkic hit that 1 free throw. They made the score 114-113. Dallas was down by 1 point with 0.8 seconds, 8 seconds to go. And Luka missed a rainbow 3 from almost half court. Kevin Durant, 8 of 14 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3. 26 points. Yusuf Nurkic, 15 points, 10 rebounds. Yusuf Nurkic is playing good basketball. Finally. When is he going to get hurt again? Bradley Beal, 15 points from the field. And Devin Booker, 13 points, 12 assists, 6 rebounds on 5 of 13 shooting. My Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks are my team. My Dallas Mavericks. We're still playing without Derek Lively. I forget exactly what his injury is, but we're still playing without Derek Lively. Coming off the bench. That is our Lively center. And him and Gafford are just, man, those guys are a crazy 1-2 punch. Daniel Gafford, our center, 6 of 7 from the field, 15 points, but he fouled out in 23 minutes, guys. Come on, Daniel Gafford. You got to be better than that. If he would have been in the game, he might have made a difference, but he fouled out in 23 minutes. Man, Derek Lively, please come back. 15 points, 7 rebounds from from Daniel Gafford. Kyrie Irving, great night. 29 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds on 10 of 17 from the field. Luka, another high-volume shooter. 11 of 25 from the field. 5 of 12 from 3 with 30 points. And Klay Thompson, our newest addition, 12 points on 4 of 13 from the field. An abysmal 1 of 17 shooting. Klay started out really, really hot on opening night for the Mavs, and he has looked average since. No problem there. We're not asking Klay to be great. We just want Klay to be good, especially when it counts the most. And then I believe that is all the games I wanted to cover. Lakers took care of the 76ers in their building last night, 116-106. No Joel Embiid. He should be back Tuesday. No Tyrese Maxey. He has a hamstring injury. He'll be out for a few weeks. So 76ers fans, this is going to be a long season. Paul George is oft injured. Embiid is oft injured. Tyrese Maxey is a really consistent player, but he has had his share of nicks throughout his first 4 or 5 seasons in the league. They won't be playing together for a while, guys. Clippers took care of business at the Kings, 107-98. I think Norman Powell scored 31 points. He has been pouring it on. Norman Powell has been pouring it on. Y'all watch them boys. I don't know how much noise they can make, but watch them boys. I did say that was the last game I wanted to cover, but I forgot that the reigning MVP played last night, and I'd be remiss not to cover him. 135-122. They played in Denver. They beat Miami 135-122. Jimmy Butler went out just 7 minutes of basketball. I think he had an ankle injury. They wouldn't have won anyway. Jokic line, 30 points, 14 assists, 11 rebounds. Michael Porter Jr. with 21 points on 5 of 10 from the field. Great job, Michael Porter Jr., MPJ. Jamal Murray, 28 points, 9 of 17 from the field, 4 of 10. Good job, Jamal. They had a really good night. Got some games coming on tonight. We'll see how those games go. I think we've got 4 games on tonight. Yeah, we got 4 games. We got Jazz at the Spurs. That's on NBA TV at 5 p.m. We've got Bulls at Hawks. I predict Trae Young scoring about 35 points tonight. I got Wemby going about 18 and 12 from the field, 18 points, 12 rebounds from the field. We got the Cavaliers and the Nets tonight. I've got the Cavaliers winning that game. I've got Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland both going for at least 25 points. And then we got the Clippers at the Raptors. I got Norman Powell going for 25. I got James Harden going for 18 points, 12 assists. And that should wrap up our show. Peace, peace.